$4,819 days ago today, I was in a room kind of like this. Everybody had name tags like this. And usually at the end of the conference, the first thing you do with your name tag is put it here, a trash can. Now you can look into this and you can see one of two things, trash or treasure. I saw the latter. And the question that I asked was, what could I do in this moment that would be the exact opposite of everyone else? That's kind of how my brain works. Ever since I was 5 years old, I've always asked that question. What could I do in this moment that would be the exact opposite of everyone else? So if everyone else rips off their name tag and throws it away, the answer to this question would be what? So I left it on all day, and you'd be amazed at what happened. Instantly, people are friendlier. And they start saying hello and starting up conversations. And a bunch of cute girls from across the hall were like, "Hey, Scott." It's the greatest day of my life. So I get back home that night, and I'm brushing my teeth, looking at the name tag in the mirror, which spelled backwards is tox. And a couple thoughts are running through my mind. Number one, cool. Wear a name tag and people are friendly. That was easy. But then the entrepreneur brain kicked in, and I thought, you know, if wearing a name tag was so effective for one day, I bet it would work every day. And so it came to pass on Tuesday, November 2nd of 2000 at 9:51 p.m. that I made the crucial decision of my entire career. I vowed to wear a name tag all day, every day, for the rest of my life. Sometimes two. That's how I roll. So hello, my name is Scott, and I literally wear a name tag 24/7 at the beach, in the shower, even to bed. You never know who you might meet. And in the 14 years that I've been doing this, I have become the world's foremost expert on, take a guess. Yeah, don't act like you're not impressed. My mom doesn't. She is no longer my parent, she is my publicist. And so everywhere we go, she says, "My son is 33 years old. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame of Ripley's, believe it or not, for," take a guess. How would you feel if that was your kid? Okay, let's play a game called Spot the Typo in Ripley's, believe it or not. Scott Ginsberg of St. Louis, Illinois. So, believe it or not, Ripley's doesn't check their facts. But I think I know what happened. I think they confused St. Louis with a well-known city across the river called... In my experience, not the kind of place you want to be wearing a name tag. And so Ripley's, believe it or not, the cartoon, the television show, let's just say what everybody is thinking. This is where they put all the people who are basically freaks. Yeah, so guys like this, and this guy, and I know, so this guy. So I'm the weird one? So I have to admit that wearing a name tag every day for 14 years, it's really not much of an accomplishment. But when you leverage a simple idea into a successful enterprise, that is. Okay, so take a look. This is not a badge. It's a brand. How sticky is yours? I've made a career out of wearing a name tag, which is as ridiculous as it sounds. And I've learned a ton. I've made even more mistakes, and I want to share some of those with you today, along with a disclaimer. I have to say this. I am not trying to convince you to wear a name tag every day. You don't want to do it. I had this vision initially. Yeah, I'll wear a name tag, and we'll bring people together, and we'll be, holding hands, singing Kumbaya across the globe. Yeah, that didn't really happen. What happens when you wear a name tag every day? 3 to 5 times a day, people just come up to you and say, "Do you have a memory problem?" It's the same 5 jokes. In fact, I've done this 100,000 times, all these interactions. Here's my all-time favorite. This is day 4,149. And I was waiting in line at some Irish pub. This big, scary bouncer dude looks at my driver's license, looks at my name tag, and says, "Sorry, no Scots allowed." It's awesome. So, welcome to my daily life. That's the disclaimer. And you don't need to wear a name tag. This is not the question I want you to be asking, should you wear a name tag? But instead, what's your name tag? What is it that you do that is all of these things? Now, if you guys are still with me, say, cool. College. This is where the whole adventure started. Now, when I graduated from college, I had the name tag on the gown, and the best part was my parents show up with name tags that say Scott's mom and Scott's dad. So, diploma in hand, I say to my parents, "Mom, Dad, I want to wear a name tag every day for the rest of my life." How would you feel if that was your kid? So, being the good parents that they are, they responded with a 4-letter word. Wasn't the 4-letter word I was expecting, but they said, "Cool." And what? "Scott, you want to wear a name tag? Cool." And so I did, and I never looked back. And that day, May 15th of 2002, I started writing my first book. Instead of going to the career fair, I just hired myself and got to work. So I moved across the country from Oxford, Ohio to Portland, Oregon. Go back for a sec. To Portland, Oregon. Why Portland? It's the only city weird enough to make me feel normal. And that's where I wrote my first book, Hello, My Name is Scott. Best part, 2 free name tags in the back of every copy. So, I was taking the bus home one day, and I sit down next to some guy. We just kind of start talking, and I told him about my name tag. And he said, "Oh, this is incredible. I tell you what, I got to go, but give me your business card. When your book comes out, we'll celebrate. I'll buy you a beer. What do you say?" Sure, he was cute. Why not? So I gave him the card. He got off the bus, and I never saw him again. He never called. Typical guy. But 1 week later, I get a phone call from the editor of the Portland Tribune newspaper. She says, "Scott, been to your website, heard about your story. We want to interview you for a feature-length article. Would you be interested?" No, I got stuff to do. Sorry. And I said, "Well, how did you hear about me, though? My book's not even out yet." "Oh, my fiance said he met you on the bus last week." How many strangers did you avoid yesterday? Everybody is somebody's somebody. And in my case, that somebody led to a chain reaction because this article was sent out on every major newswire in the country. It went viral before viral was viral. And it led me to CNN with Anderson Cooper before he was cool. And I remember, it was a surreal moment. I'm watching myself on the monitor in front of 10 million people, and I noticed that they have assigned me a job title. Would you like to see what it is? Let's take a look at what CNN thinks I'm all about. Any questions on my credentials? So, lesson learned. If you don't make a name for yourself, someone will make one for you. So who's making a name for you? Because that continued the chain reaction. A couple months later, I was downtown in Portland reading the USA Today, and I saw some headlines that I will never forget. This is April 29th, 2003. Let's just all look at the headlines together. Identity theft cases rise this month. 75 million Americans living without health insurance. Number 3. Let's go back one. Luther Vandross catches pneumonia after stroke. SARS outbreak troubles China workers. The end of Buffy feels like a dagger to the heart. I know, right? Best show ever. Let's look at some of the other headlines. War letters from the Iraqi front lines. What else do we have? A Cost of AIDS drugs increasing for poor nations. Studies find disturbing amounts of contamination in lettuce. God, what's next? Hubble telescope catching approaching storm of turbulent gases. Oh, wait a minute. I wonder what the 10th headline might be. Bandware's name tag for friendlier society. And looking into the newspaper, all I could say to myself was, oh crap. Like, this is it. This is the point of no return. And so it wasn't really a name tag, it was a domino. So follow the path. The guy on the bus leads to the article in the paper, which leads to CNN, which leads to USA Today, which essentially led to everything that I have done this whole time, including lots of hate mail. This is my favorite part. I know, it's okay, I'm okay with it now, but tons of hate mail came in, and I always save hate mail because I think it's important for motivation. Would you like to hear some of my favorite letters? Let's take a look. Number 1 is coming on the screen in 2 seconds. The first piece of hate mail, it's okay, I memorized them. Dear Scott, this is by far the most ridiculous and pointless idea I've ever heard of. You are nuttier than a bag of trail mix. Look at me, everybody, I wear a name tag. You're just an egotistical loser that has no life that would probably buy cigarettes for 13-year-olds. What? What is that? It's ridiculous. They were 14-year-olds. So anytime criticism comes your way, what's important to remember is that it doesn't matter how many people don't love you. I remember talking about this whole situation with my grandparents. They're actually here today, but this is a little bit sort of a window into my grandparents' life. So, that's really them, I swear. So I was talking to my grandparents, and my grandfather said, and I'll never forget, Scott, look, anybody could have wore a name tag, but you were the one that made a career out of it. And looking back, I realized, you don't need an idea. You need an I did. So how many of those do you have? Over the years, the name tag hate mail, that was only sort of the beginning of the repercussions. I mean, I've ruined clothes. I've had people start fights with me. I've had death threats. Hand to God. I've had stalkers. All of this has happened. And I realized, looking back, the problem was I hadn't committed. I mean, yeah, at the time I'd worn a name tag for a couple of years and I'd written this book, but, I needed a way to show the world that I meant business. So I bought myself one of those name tags that doesn't come off. Have you ever seen one of those in the store? That's what it looks like. You don't think it's real. That's okay. Anytime somebody questions your commitment, all you got to do is look them straight in the eye and say, "That ain't no Sharpie." How committed are you? How committed should I be? Now, there are some repercussions when it comes to commitment, because this is back in 2005, right? So since then, I've noticed that this name tag tattoo has appeared on a variety of prestigious online publications, such as ugliesttattoos.com, The Gallery of Regret, The Worst Tattoos in the World. Last summer, MSN Living's 30 Worst Tattoo Designs of All Time. And my personal favorite, 210 WTF Were They Thinking tattoos. On the list, you'll see tattoos like this, and like this, and like this. Apparently, I was not only on the list, but I was selected as the spokesperson for the list. And here's what they had to say about me. Hello, my name is Hugh Jass. I should have waxed. But sometimes, in the midst of negative criticism, sometimes an email from a total stranger can actually make it all worthwhile. I don't save a lot of emails and print them out and frame them on my wall, but here's one that I would never forget. This came back in 2005. Dear Scott, I just read your newsletter about Ripley's Believe It or Not, and I want to thank you for your website. I'm 60 years old and was having quite a difficult time with my bowel movements. Wait for it. But thanks to you, I'm regular because hysterical laughter seems to do the trick for me, and I'm sure for everyone else. And that is why I love my job, because I make shit happen. Okay. So let's look at the story. It starts with a name tag in 2000. It becomes a book in 2002, and then 2005, I get the tattoo. Now, here's where the story gets interesting from a business perspective. You want to know what else happened in 2005? My company actually started making money. Huh. Interesting. Isn't that funny how that works, that when you commit with both feet, the world doesn't just pay attention, it pays dividends. And so you might be wondering, well, what is the business model that you operate out of? Well, there's a couple different ways to look at it. Most companies, they have a business for which they are trying to build a brand, right? Well, you know me, I gotta be the opposite of everybody, right? So I have a brand that I'm building a business for. And the best part about doing it this way is you never run out of question marks. You wanna know why? Because the name of my company, all right, is Hello, my name is Scott. Bank of America thinks I'm a stripper. But the reason it works is because I'm just trying to see how many different ways I can get paid to be myself. The way I see it, if you're just being yourself, nobody can tell you that you're doing it wrong. And so that's really what focus is all about. We all think focus is about activity, right? No, it's about identity. Focus isn't about doing one thing all your life. It's about doing many things one way all your life. What is your name tag? What is it that you do that is all of these things? That's on the bottom right corner, that's the name tag reject pile. Those are the name tags that don't make the cut. Because I spelled them wrong. No. I've been doing this for 4,189 days, and if we really kind of examine everything I've told you today, there's sort of one question that might be floating around your head, and it would be, what is this story really about? Is it about name tags, approachability, friendliness, branding, marketing, commitment, tattoos? Yeah. It's all of the above. Why do you think the very first thing I showed you was this? That's not a picture. That was a Rorschach test. We all see what we need to see. 14 years ago, I saw treasure instead of trash. And so whatever it is that you see, just remember, it doesn't have to be a name tag. It just has to stick. Thanks for being here. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Woo! Yeah!